quite this level in the next round. I think that the Raptors, I mean, listen, the Raptors just melted down. They went from top 5 defense, top 5 offense, second most wins in the league, fully healthy roster, to a team that looked like just unplayably bad, particularly on the defensive end. They offered no resistance. The Celtics will offer some resistance. So I don't know.
The Cavs did just barely win 2 of those games, didn't they?
I mean, if you want to act, they swept back. No, I was going to say if you want to act
the
like
first game went into overtime. All right?
Yep.
Did not Toronto have a chance to win game number 1?
Oh, absolutely. They had the lead the entire, they never trailed in regulation.
Yeah, so I believe that they were tested, but the reason why it came out the way it was, because the overwhelming support that the role players gave the Cavs.
And the point that I'm trying to make is I think Boston will offer more resistance on the role players than Toronto was able to. So I don't know.
I just don't want to discredit what these guys did. Because where they came from after the Pacers series, because if we just say, oh, man, Toronto, man, they just laid down. Man, they played some serious basketball. They forced Toronto into this sweep.
Sure, absolutely.
You see what I'm trying to...
Absolutely. I'm not trying to talk about just one team's failure as opposed to this other team's success. It's a great point. Like, they had to go make the shots. They had to go get over how bad they had played in the 7-game series.
Yes.
And they had to do it with no turnaround time, no prep for the series. I get that part of it. I just think that I don't think they will play quite at this level in the next round. But they don't have to play quite at this level in the next round. Now, they'll have to play at this level or better in the NBA Finals. But the Cavs don't have to sweep the Celtics, and they don't have to have Kevin Love go 20-10 in the next round. They would like, though, Kevin Love. We saw him go 20-10 the first month of the year.
Yes.
We've seen the good thing about this is, aside from Kyle Korver, guys are playing to what I think most people would have expected their averages would be going into the year. Like JR, can he give you a dozen points a game as your starting shooting guard? He didn't in the regular season, but he should be able to. Can Kevin Love give you 20 and 10 as your number 2 option? He did in the beginning of the regular season. He should be able to.
Yeah, I don't think if the role players don't play well, so people are like, wow, they were playing bad. Nick was on it. They're not going to continue doing that. But for them to have championship aspirations, the role players have to play well. LeBron didn't have any support the first 6 games from the Pacers, finally got it in game number 7. And since then, they've had 5 guys score in double figures. That is the key to the Cavs, because not only the scoring, but it gives LeBron time where he's playing, but he can rest. It's called active resting on the court. And if LeBron doesn't get that, they're not going to be able to get the 8 wins they need for LeBron to get his 4th championship.
And LeBron didn't, by the way, have to give these guys this level of support. We've seen one of the 10 greatest players ever. I remember it vividly. In 2006, Kobe Bryant. His Los Angeles Lakers team, this is after Shaq, before Powell, when it is a hodgepodge of guys similar to what LeBron's in with this year. Get a 3-1 lead in the first round on the Phoenix Suns. They lose Game 5. They lose Game 6, despite Kobe playing really well. I think he had 48 points in that game, maybe 50 points in that game. And then in Game 7, he refused to shoot in the second half because he was so angry at his teammates. They were getting blown out. He refused to shoot, and they blow a 3-1 lead. Contrast that to, do you guys remember, just let the audience hear what LeBron said after Game 3 when the Cavs were down 2-1 to Indiana, and the media is probing him on his teammates, trying to get him to say about how badly they'd been playing. Here was LeBron's answer.
What are you guys looking for? You guys think I'm gonna throw my teammates under the bus? No, I'm not about that. Guys just gotta play better, including myself. Had 6 turnovers tonight. I was horrible in the third quarter, couldn't make a shot. You know, if I make some better plays in the third quarter, then the lead don't slip. So, you know, we know we all got to play better as a collective group. And, you know, no matter who it is, and yeah, you get production. We got production today. You know, to start the game, in the second half, it wasn't much production, but we still had a chance to win.
How much do you think LeBron's sticking with them, CC, and not criticizing them publicly and continuing to hit the open shooters in round 1 contributed to them being able to find their flow in round 2?
It does help, but if they don't score, if JR don't get them 20 points in game number 7, man, that don't mean nothing. If the ball don't go in the bucket, like for those guys, if those guys don't keep coming to the gym, believing in their routine, like those just become words. You still have to do it. So, yeah, he said it, but so what? He's supposed to say that. Like, he's supposed to stick with his teammates. Like, I don't discredit Kobe for giving up on them, and I don't give LeBron some extraordinary credit because also LeBron on the court, even though he might have said that in the press conference, on the court during the season, there's been many a times he doubted his teammates. You could see his overall frustration in him playing all those 82 games, and you could see it in the Pacers series. They made a couple more plays than the Pacers to be able to advance. Advancing, to me, was the key.
And it's the difference between 7 games and a sweep in 4 games.
Absolutely.
When those role players actually show up. Let's move on to the other side of this one. Things quickly going from bad to worse to head-scratching for this Raptors team. Bad, they were eliminated by the Cavs for the 3rd straight season. Worse, they get swept after they had the 2nd-best record in the league. And head-scratching, despite having 59 regular season wins, head coach Dwayne Casey is rumored to be getting fired. DeMar DeRozan spoke about a disappointing end to the year.
Last 3 years have been rough for us, competing against this team. Maybe they just got our number. Things just don't go right for us. Whatever it is, it could be a lot of things. All I know is, last 3 years they have been a reason why we haven't advanced. So, whatever that is, I couldn't sit up here and tell you one specific thing. We had opportunities after opportunities after opportunity. And we couldn't pull off that big challenge you want to face up against, going against a guy like that. All you can ask for at the end of the day is have the opportunity to face him, to try to make up for the previous time, and we just couldn't get it done this time around.
Look, you believe everything he said. It's true. They had a number of opportunities. For whatever reason, they played so well in the regular season. I know you guys don't like to hear it. They have their number for however you want to shake it out. CC, what do the Raptors now need to do after being eliminated by the Cavs for the 3rd straight season?
Well, you have to do the same thing that everyone else in the East has done in the last 7 years. You have to analyze who's the best player, how do we match up against that player, and you need to try to make adjustments that you can get better. Now, you would think Toronto, hypothetically, because they got benched, because they're benched, they had more bench scoring, one of the best in the NBA. So that would make them better. One of the best records, 2nd-best record in the NBA. Oh, they have home court advantage. Oh, that would make them better. But still, along the way, they still had no answer for LeBron. Even though they have 2 superstars in their own right, which they think, they're still not the answer to LeBron. They have no way to defend LeBron. They have no way to negate LeBron having big games, and LeBron has enough shooters around him. So LeBron's going to have enough to beat Toronto. They have to make significant changes. I believe that they should change the coach because you cannot have this lack of postseason success and continue to go on. What are you telling the organization if you decide, oh, we're just going to reboot it? Let's just go again. Let's run it back. Wow, really? So now you're just waiting. So regardless of what happens during the regular season, you're just waiting on next postseason because that's the only thing that you're judged on. I believe they should give someone else a chance to coach this team, coach this talent, to try to get better things out of them. Because Ty Lue, people don't give him credit for coaching. He has a huge advantage going against Toronto. So if you don't look at Ty Lue as being an icon in the game, what are you looking at Casey right now?
I don't think you can fire Dwayne Casey, man. Dwayne Casey, throughout the regular season, while I was advocating for Brad Stevens win Coach of the Year, you kept reminding me about Dwayne Casey.
Well, I thought that they had changed. They changed their rotation. They changed their offense. Their offense was the same offense they've been running the last 3 years in the playoffs. They went right back to it. Also, they shortened their rotation by 2 players. That was the whole key to the regular season. Will they be able to continue this? No. They shortened their bench by 2 players. Why? That's because of the coach.
Listen, Dwayne Casey had some awful moments in this series. Game 3, the total, if you read his quotes, we wanted to trap. And then a few seconds later in the press conference, he tells them this is on the final shot in Game 3 when the Cavs taking the backcourt. He says, maybe I should have communicated we wanted to trap.
Yeah, which means it's a flat-out lie. He didn't tell them to trap because the players after the game said he didn't tell us to trap. So now he's trying to make up for it in the press conference for something that he didn't tell the team.
Listen, that's fair. And in last night's game, it gets forgotten because they lost by 25 points. But before they let go of the rope in the second half, or in the second quarter, pardon me, he puts in Lucas Nogueira, who has no business on the court. Lucas Nogueira plays a minute 51 The Raptors are outscored 10-0 in a minute 51 with Lucas Nogueira on the court. He doesn't have his star player, DeMar DeRozan, play at all in the fourth quarter of Game 3. You wonder without their relationship there.
Whose case are you making?
My point is, I understand why this series in and of itself
isn't that enough to warrant?
Is awful.
Okay.
I don't think there are enough good coaches in the NBA to fire one that I know is a good coach. I watch teams. I watch teams.
You can't prove to me he's a good coach. You can say based on the record, but you can't prove to me Dwayne Casey is a good NBA coach.
I don't think you can win 59 games, have a top 5 offense and a top 5 defense when you don't have a transcendent talent on your team if you're not a good coach. I don't think you can get the team to undergo the transformation from last year to this year in the regular season unless you have a good coach. Now, they ran into LeBron. And by the way, had they run into LeBron a round later, if the Cavs had won, if they had won one more game, they would have been the 3 seed, and Philly would have been the 4. And if they lose in the conference finals to LeBron.
How encouraged are you if you're a season ticket holder to the Raptors?
Well,
what are you guys going to do for 2018-19 season? Oh, we're going to just bring everybody back.
Well,
same team, same collection of coaches, everything.
No, I would trade DeMar DeRozan. That's what I would do.
And what are you going to get for
it? DeMar DeRozan, you could either get a bunch of pieces, or I think you could get a very quality player. Because here's what I know. Steph and Clay confused us on this. We've never seen a team in NBA history prior to the 2015 Warriors never win a title when their 2 best players are their guard and point guard, or shooting guard and point guard. We've never seen a team win. It's why our friend C.J. McCollum and the Blazers, they have a ceiling. If your best 2 players are your point guard and your guard, and they don't also double as the 2 greatest shooters in the history of the sport, you have a ceiling in this league. We've never seen it done.
If your point guard and your 2 guard score the same as LeBron James in a 4-game series, I don't care who they are, you're going to lose. You're right. You're going to lose, but they should be better than that.
But that's on them, or that's on the coach?
Well, I wouldn't say DeMar DeRozan. It wouldn't be his fault in this series. I wouldn't bring the coach back. All right? I think DeMar is more elite than the coach. I believe you can find another coach to win you 50 games.
Okay. I can't fire Dwayne Casey after the year he had. I can't, but I also can't bring the team back as
that's why they did bring Chris. What do you do? I'll fire him. No problem. Walk right in there, shoot him right in his leg. Tell him he can limp right on out.
I'm not going to mention that that's an exact Seinfeld episode because that's not what you want to hear right now. But if I were to say that, it was the Raquel Welch episode. Coming up.
Wait, what?
It was the Raquel Welch episode. They had to get Kramer to fire Raquel Welch.